Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a very spiritual client that I was working with that felt that they had lost connection with a time in their life where they really felt aligned and connected and tapped into a real sense of meaning in their life and had fallen into habits that gave them a feeling of disconnection and almost a need to kind of escape their own reality. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is tapping into a time in their life where they felt really spiritually aligned and to reactivate that state, but also that way of thinking to really tap into what it meant to be led by the intuition and work with it, so that the intuition and the spiritual values met their needs rather than looking to extrinsic elements to do the same thing. If you're listening to this, you're probably a spiritual person and you're probably aware that hypnosis is a really good tool to tap into spiritual belief systems, but also the spiritual resources. If you're curious to explore how to work with me to harness more of that spiritual energy and activity, there will be a link in the show notes to book a free 30-minute consultation call. But for now, you might find that this session is sufficient for you to reactivate your own spiritual alignment and to get more of that relationship with yourself. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to relax. That's it. As you breathe in, continue to breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And allow any feelings of anxiety, tension, or worry to leave your body in your outward breath. Meaning that just by breathing in and breathing out, you're able to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. And position your body in a way where you can really tap into that feeling of relaxation. That's it. I want you to scan your body from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes for any clues of tension. Tension could be tightness in the jaw, a feeling of muscle tension in the neck or the shoulders, heaviness in the arms or the legs. And as you scan your body, you might become aware of muscles that are tense that don't need to be tense. So as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, give permission to yourself to just let go and allow that tension to leave your body. That's it. And I want you to think back to a time a time of meditation, a time perhaps where you would meditate surrounded by trees, in a forest or a jungle. And I want you to imagine that you're walking into that place surrounded by nature. And as you notice the green of the leaves, the freshness of the air, you can't help but notice the feeling of oxytocin being released into your blood, making you feel good just by having that feeling of connection. The same feeling you would get from hugging a loved one can be the same feeling you get just by being around nature. And imagine that you're surrounded by beautiful trees, incredible nature, in a posture that enables you to breathe in a particular way that helps you to feel so deeply relaxed. And I want you to become aware of the rhythm of your breathing. Notice with your eyes closed there in nature, you become more aware of everything around you. The feeling of a breeze on your skin, any sounds of any animals around, noticing the absence of any people. Get a sense of how lush the green environment is around you. Evaluating that it's quiet, peaceful. Notice how safe you feel in this environment. Become aware of your body. The straightness of your spine, the position of your legs, perhaps crossed beneath you, your arms by your side, and become aware of not just the rhythm and the depth of your breath, but also the vibration of that breath. It's almost like the way you're breathing is resonating at a particular frequency that taps into the ability to perhaps shift from alpha waves to beta waves, perhaps to theta waves in your brain, giving you a deeper experience of calm and tranquility. Notice that facial expression, being happy, a serene gaze, feeling how good it feels to feel a connection with nature, and more importantly, a connection with yourself. Maybe you feel it there in the solar plexus, a oneness with you. You can trust yourself. You feel safe with yourself. And here in this place is the ideal place to reevaluate what you like and enjoy in your life, and to make any changes with those areas that aren't quite aligned. Because there is a part of you that is already used to noticing what isn't quite right. You can imagine, for example, entering a room and seeing a slanted picture on the wall and feeling an urge to correct it, to make that picture straight. And isn't it a physical sensation you feel when you notice that something isn't quite right? And I wonder if we could re-look at what we think is anxiety or feeling unsettled. Perhaps to look at a more useful alternative. What if your gut is your second brain and the primary way that your intuition communicates with you? In which case, feeling anxious or unsettled may be a clue of living out of alignment with values. Not values from society, not values from other people, but your values. I want you to imagine seeing yourself living your life in your current environment as a spiritual nomad. And I want you to get a sense that to truly be spiritual means the only rules you have to follow are your own rules. And any rule that isn't serving you can be changed for a more empowering rule. And I want you to see this version of you in full alignment with your spiritual values. See yourself meditating for however long, in whichever way that you feel is right for you. And perhaps you see yourself practicing different forms of yoga. See yourself in a pose, practicing a move, stretching your body, and notice that serene facial expression again on your face. If meditation enables you to connect with your soul and your mind, what if yoga enables you to have a connection with your breath and with your body? And see this version of you connected with yourself. And the meaning is the meaning you give it. And what if the meaning is simply to live by your rules and live in accordance with your values? Then it would mean that this version of you has that feeling of alignment, a feeling of inner peace, self-love, a feeling of deep meaning and connection. And I want you to step into that version of you that identifies as a spiritual nomad, realizing that there aren't any hoops to jump through to become this person. There aren't any rules that you have to follow. You don't have to escape to this place. This is someone that you can just be. And I want you to feel that you are already this person. You're just reminded that you're this person whenever you do things that align with these values. You're always spiritual. It's just when you meditate, you notice it more. When you read certain texts, profound knowledge and wisdom, you're more aware that that's who you are. When you breathe a certain way and move your body in a certain way, you're reminded of who you are. You've experienced different versions of you. The version of you living by your own values of freedom and spiritual alignment, and that feels good. But you've also lived through the lens of judgment based on how you should be, how you have to be, how you must be. And when you've lived that way, out of alignment with your values, you felt unsettled and anxious. And therefore, what if it isn't anxiety, but your intuition letting you know that you're driving in someone else's lane rather than your own lane? And the anxiety and unsettled feeling is simply a clue to change lanes. And imagine changing lanes. Changing lanes by living life based on what you value, following your rules, creating a connection and meaning within your own life. And notice that feeling of anxiety and feeling unsettled just disappears, it melts away, and replaced with a different feeling. A feeling of alignment, a feeling of deep meaning, a feeling of connection. And when you have that feeling, notice how much more understanding you are of other people. You're aligned with your values, and perhaps they're aligned with theirs. But as ridiculous as it would be that you have to align with other people's values, is why it's ridiculous for anyone else to have to align with yours. You are marching to the beat of your own drum, and it doesn't have to match the rhythm or volume of anyone else's. I want you to get a sense that true freedom is having the option to make the choices that you want to make. That could be to hug a tree, to be close to nature, to simply choose to live life on your terms. I want you to imagine that there in that forest is a tree, but it's a tree with very shallow roots, and this tree represents a belief system. A belief system based on rules and judgments that you can't enjoy life, you have to work hard. And I want you to imagine that you can manipulate time and rewind this until this tree was a very young tree, a sapling. And I want you to imagine pulling this tree out by the roots and planting a new tree, a beautiful tree. And this tree represents a more useful belief that the purpose of life is to live in accordance with your own values. Imagine planting that tree, watering that tree. And imagine this tree was planted in your childhood, and then fast forward until the present and see this tree has grown to a big, beautiful tree, bearing delicious fruit. And the fruit represents the richness of your experience. And I want you to accept that the more you live in accordance with your own values, the more you will experience a deep, meaningful, and fulfilling life. Imagine leaving the forest, but taking these deep feelings of connection and meaning with you. And I want you to imagine returning to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're back in your own body, fully present with a new identity. An identity that you are already able and willing to live in accordance with your values, and nothing can stop you. Starting from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8. Open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.